For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Harrison Kraft. I'm a director and DP. I've been shooting professionally for about 8 years, and I've had many unique opportunities along the way. Over the years, I've developed a collection of cameras that I've had hundreds, if not thousands of hours of experience with. And in this video, I'd like to talk about them in chronological order of when I purchased them, as well as some of the projects that I've shot with them. The Sony A7s was my first step into becoming an experienced DP. The image was extremely clear compared to the Canon T3i that I'd been using prior to that. There was a lot more dynamic range to play with. Ironically, I bought this camera because I liked how good it looked in low light, but it was when I got this camera that I really started to focus on lighting in my films. Aside from my lighting, I also started to focus more on color grading. While doing this, I started to notice all the quirks of the A7s II, such as it being an 8-bit camera. I would get banding from time to time when grading. So I shot with the A7s for several years, and I made probably hundreds of films with it and many more shorts, and I don't know. It's a great camera. I still love it to this day, and it's a really handy tool. So around 2017, I wanted to get a B cam to match with my A7s, so I bought the A6500. So this was a great little camera. I remember using it all the time, and I even used it as a standalone A camera for quite a few shoots. The same problems that were present in the A7s were definitely still present in this camera. The rolling shutter was exceptionally bad in this camera. Dynamic range was about the same, and my biggest problem is that it was still an 8-bit camera. So I was still on the hunt for something that shot 10-bit, and I was really interested in the original Pocket Cinema camera. And then I think I kind of waited on it for a bit, and then in 2018 they released the Pocket 4K. I remember getting on the wait list immediately for this camera. It ticked every box that I wanted in a camera. It had 10-bit, it was 422, it shot ProRes and RAW, it does 4K up to 60 frames per second, and it does HD up to 120 frames per second, dual native ISO. It was awesome. So I probably waited like 4 months before my camera finally came, and I remember when I got the camera, it changed my life. Like, it was such a step up from Sony cameras that I'd been using. I use this camera so much, and still to this day I use it. It drastically boosted the quality of my work, and with the ability to monitor on a bigger screen and the ability to have a custom LUT while shooting, the battery life on the camera kind of sucked, so I invested in V-mount batteries, and I'd say that 90% of my best work is shot on this camera. So over time, I had a lot of hours just analyzing the images that came out of the Pocket 4K, as well as my Sonys, and I started to notice some stuff that I wasn't too keen about. The motion that came out of these cameras looked choppy from time to time, and the reason that I came to this conclusion is because I actually went back to looking at the original Pocket camera from years before. The videos that really caught my eyes were the ones by a DP named Hideki Shiota, and I found him on Vimeo, and I've been following him for many years, and the videos that he was putting out with the original Pocket camera were just amazing, and I decided that I needed a second 10-bit camera as a B cam for my Pocket 4K. So after a while, I decided that it was a good idea just to pick up an original Pocket Cinema camera towards the end of 2020. This camera, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a piece of shit. I love it though. The image is just so beautiful. When I say it's a piece of shit, I mean that the battery life is terrible and it has very bad dynamic range. And honestly, I love the stuff that I get with this camera. I use it a lot. The motion is very silky smooth. It looks very filmic. and there's just a certain quality to it that I really love, and it's very difficult to put your finger on it, but honestly, I really love to use this camera just time after time. It's so fun to use. That's the best way I can characterize it. Like, it may not have the most technically precise or best image, but it's just fun to use. And that leads me to the last camera. So in 2021, I was working at a camera store and I got a pretty good deal on the Panasonic S5. This is my most recent camera purchase, and I've used it on several pretty high-profile gigs. I really love the image that comes out of this camera. Again, I'm not too keen on the motion that this camera renders. There's something kind of digital looking about it, but honestly, 99% of people that are watching this kind of stuff don't ever notice that. So it's not really the first thing that crosses my mind. I think this camera really makes it easier for me to shoot, especially the way I shoot. It supports that pretty well, and it's just a blast to use. I really love using this camera, and it makes getting the kinds of images that I like to get just so much easier. And honestly, a lot of my best work is also on this camera, and yeah. So obviously this is my first time doing a video that's like this, so if you guys would like to see more videos like this, or if you want a tour of my lens collection, or any other piece of gear that I might have, just, let me know and I'll try to do it. I know a lot of people want some color grading tutorials, and maybe I'll do one of those, but otherwise, everybody stay safe. Have a great day.